really see it between these two teams.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to see it here because there is the Batiste Lyra on the other side already, and they have Black Feather, so likely not to be the selection for Fnatic, but they still have the Grace, there's still the Lance, and I would expect Lance to be a pick here for Fnatic, but it is going to be the Grace instead. They want that healing to go along with the dive that Black Feather brings to the table. And so now the question is, do you go for that another melee hero even into the Batiste, or do you stick with something that is ranged?
We'll find out here. They could go for an Alpha or a Reza if they want to go towards a brawling triple melee composition, and if not, they could go for something like a Samuel. Petal is still open. CP Petal does well against Batiste at the same time as she works well with a dive, but she's not a melee character herself, so you can play her around. Instead, they're going to go for the CP Black Feather, flex him into the jungle, and then pick up the Kestrel in lane. And that's a strong composition.
Yeah, just going straight for the power picks.
Yeah, I mean, it's also taking it away from Qlash, too, making sure that Qlash doesn't get the Kestrel with their composition. Now, you expect Qlash to then answer with a Vox just based on their previous picks.
Yeah, I mean, if they go for a Vox, I don't think that would work the best for them. Again, the Kestrel, the reason why she's so strong here is because going up against a Lyra and a Batiste, both heroes are very squishy. Neither one of them can frontline her Glimmer shots. So she has a lot of range to just get up to her crit items and then start hitting those Glimmer shots. As long as she keeps her distance, she can easily win the team fights for her team.
And you got to wonder where they're going to go. They are going to stick with the Vox. You know, you said it may not be the best pick for them. In this situation, if you take away the team names, it's not the best pick. But because it's Qlash and because it's Mercilli's, it becomes the best pick available to them because that is just his best carry after the Kestrel.
Yeah, I really like the draft coming out here for Fnatic. You know, despite the Vox, I agree with you, it's the best thing for Mercillis, but in the scenarios, it doesn't work very well. And as long as Fnatic keep their distance, as I mentioned, they have a CP Black Feather as well, who once he reaches his level 8, his on point, has an increased range, and they can just play from afar, keep Batiste at bay and keep Vox at bay. So Fnatic coming out of this one very strong in my opinion.
Yeah, this is one of those situations that we've talked about a lot about Qlash, is that hero pool for Mercilli's is oftentimes a crutch for them, and that's exactly what we see here. It's a pick that is not optimal for what they're going up against, but because that's where their comfort lies, they have to go for it.
All right, so how are we expecting this one to pan out then? We've mentioned that we feel like Fnatic have a stronger draft coming on in. What are their win conditions here? Are they going to be aggressive to start things?
They shouldn't need to be aggressive, but if they want to, they can once Glimmer shots start dealing a lot of damage with the Sorrow Blade picked up on Kestrel. On the other side, though, Qlash, we have to mention that they do have tools to win the game with teleportations from Lyra, for example, using her portal, getting on top of Kestrel. So it's possible.
All right, so they need to dive onto that Kestrel during these fights and take that down. We'll have to see if it's going to be able to happen. Hashtag Vainglory 8. Let us know whether you want Fnatic to finish this series off or if you want Qlash with a chance of getting out of the challenge battles. It's time to find out as we pass it over for the last game of the day to Jaws and Sean Ostino.
Thank you very much, Munch. Once again, it's me, Jaws, and me, joined by Sean Ostino. We're going to get into the game. Game number 3, Qlash versus Fnatic. And you heard the desk. Dive onto Techno. But will Agony and Mercilli's be able to do such a thing?
It's going to be a really difficult task, but I think they can pull it off. Disowned on this Lyra here, it's going to be the facilitator for the team. We typically see with the Lyras, once they hit level 6 and get that Arcane Passage, they're going to be able to dive in, bulwark down, and maybe if he has an Atlas Pauldron, throw it down. Mercilli's going low.
Nettoilette stole it again. He stole Elder Trient once again. The amount of Captain Seals I told you today we've seen is off the charts. I really regret actually not marking this down. But we'll have to go watch the replays to see how many Captains have stolen away Elder Trient to start at level 1. But Nettoilette doing a good job of just trying to hang around here, just making sure Qlash ever fearful of his grace. Fnatic going to get the nice rotation here off to the lane.
Yeah, nice rotation and a little bit of skirmishing, taking things early, going into the jungle. What we need to see here, though, we need to see a lot of dive in the Holy Shields from Grace, actually. That's something that's going to be making her very useful and a really good team facilitator for Fnatic. And we need to see Black Feather poke from range, too, as this CP Black Feather.
They got a lot of poke potential considering they have Techno as well, who's just picked up a couple of weapon blades for himself and will be heading back to the lane also. Now, Ned Toilette on this Grace, it's been a kind of a hot pick for EU specifically, and it's going to work wonders, you can imagine, in Fnatic's composition, who will want to be able to stay alive for as long as possible, ideally, and keeping Techno and Palmatoro at range, just poking away, poking at the turrets and managing to poke down Agony and Disowned, or maybe just focusing Disowned because the healing coming out from him is going to be quite scary also, and Ned Toilette is going to be able to facilitate that. A big Echo pickup fairly early on, you can imagine, is going to be on the cards for him. Agony going fairly aggressive, or going fairly low, I should say, with Palmatoro and Ned Toilette going fairly aggressive. Trapped up in the Ordain, however, Agony a little bit too scared to march forwards into Palmatoro for the time being. They're still going to fight over this Treant here, with Disown being very low energy, so Fnatic are actually going to decide to back off at this point, it seems, although Holy Nova does land onto Disowned. I take that completely back. Too fast popped. Ned Toilette going in for the Benediction. Can't quite find anything just yet, but a big stun coming through for the Ordained will actually just allow Palmatoro to fight the dust, and that'll be Qlash once again picking up first blood.
Ooh, first blood for Qlash. Things are looking pretty good for them now. And you mentioned the sustain. It looks like they may not be done yet.
Yeah, they may not be done at all, as Techno JJ has found himself in agony, and found himself in agony as well as he end up going down. Agony's going to find one kill. Ned Toilette finds the retreat kill there with the Holy Nova. Disown, maybe in a little bit of trouble, pops that sigil for a bit of movement. A little bit of a messy start here, I think, Sean Ostino. I'm going to be honest with you. Ned Toilette now backing off, and will be able to escape alive.
Yeah, things are looking pretty crazy right here. If you look at side of Qlash, they actually do have a lot of sustain and damage potential too. Agony, if once he's able to get that Shatter Glass, he's going to be able to do a lot of burst damage with those bad mojos. But then again, at the same time, he's able to heal up a lot too because of the Reap Heroic perk that Baptiste has. Mercilles, once he gets a Poison Shiv, it looks like he may be building towards another item at the moment. But if he gets a Poison Shiv, then that would be able to give him a lot of sustain as well.
Jungle has intensified.
Fnatic still undeterred, it seems. They're still wanting to go fairly aggressive in Clash's jungle. But Techno now pushing forward in this lane is almost picked up his Sora Blader's first item and doing a good job against Mercilles, who was touched on in the desk. And in fact, I'll interrupt myself real quick as an Ordain does land. Nice Holy Nova straight onto Agony, but Techno going extremely low. Does use those boots to get away also, but Ned Toilette going very, very deep and ends up falling, actually. That'll be Agony biting the dust once again. And that's a bit of an overextension there for Qlash, not respecting Palmatoro's engage potential.
Yeah, a little bit of an overstep, but I feel like if you look at Qlash, there's actually a lot more CC that's coming out of them. We have the potential for lockdown with the Bulwark, the Ordains as well. The Bulwarks are going to limit a lot of mobility, especially with Techno JJ, who wants to be able to active camo and reposition during the team fights. Bulwark's going to come down. That's really going to snare up a lot of the members of Fnatic. And especially once Disown hits level 6, they're going to be able to easily come in with those arcane passages, throw down the Bulwark if necessary, throw down an Atlas Pauldron, and it's really going to inhibit a lot of the members of Fnatic. And Ned Toilette doesn't have too many CC items in his kit. He only has the Holy Shield, which is going to be damage reduction, but that's not necessarily going to be the best thing, especially when we see Mercilles, who needs to stay alive longer in the fights to just ramp up damage with a breaking point that could be coming out of him.
Well, Ned Toilette's going to have to heal and pray, I think, is the agenda for him today. If he had a checklist of what he needs to do, just make sure he hits the Holy Nova. If he doesn't, he just hits Divine Intervention and then hope his carries survive. Although Palmatoro going fairly aggressive, nice little flank here, but Techno JJ's already pretty low. Active Camo Trap was played down, but that'll be Palmatoro actually escaping with the Rose offensive. Fearsome Shade's going to get blocked from Techno JJ. Those bad mojos are starting to rack up in damage. He's going to be fairly careful. Fnatic with the failed engage are going to have to play a little bit more defensively now as they defend their turret.
Yeah, and it looks like the Ordain's down, so they're not giving up yet.
Oh no, they're not. Mercilles taking a lot of damage from that turret. A couple of glimmer shots did send his way as well from Techno JJ. And in fact, a one-shot, one-kill will be sent down the lane, only hitting Disown for the time being.
Yeah, Disown body blocking, that really smart move by him to protect Mercilles. He was pretty low on health. But this turret is being sieged up pretty well by Qlash, and it's got a lot of chunk damage on it, down to probably about 10% health.
Yeah, two small fights happening at once. Agony did steal that away from Palmatoro. The rest of Fnatic are going to go for this engagement here. Holy Nova's going to find the stun. Tenno JJ with raining down Glimmer shots. They are going to be able to find the kill on the overextended Agony. And now Qlash lose a member and lose priority up in that lane.
Shatterglass picked up by Agony, and speaking of Agony, in that last team fight, he did get out of position and was actually found out by Fnatic. Really smart rotation down to take him out. And I was actually saying earlier, there's not a lot of CC coming out of Fnatic. Well, you know what? The Holy Novas are pretty good CC if you can catch someone out of position. Stunning them up in 1 second makes a big difference if they're egressing from a team fight. So you can easily have the rest of Fnatic burst that enemy down.
Well, they can, like you mentioned a minute ago. Not too much CC, but that small window can open up Palmatoro to get a couple of shots down. However, Mercilli's pushing in this lane. He's got Sora Blade, he's got the Poison Shiv, so he is an item technically ahead of Palmatoro here. Benediction in, and that turret is extremely low, so they will have to defend it with their lives, but the poke coming out from those on point and those Glimmer shots sends Disowned back. Doesn't want to mess with that anymore, and Fnatic regain control. However, like I mentioned a second ago, the healing and the sustain is going to come out from him, so he hasn't got to worry all too much.
Interesting interaction and actually interesting item pickup from Palmatoro. The Aftershock as a first item is something we typically don't see on CP Black Feathers, but he does have a lot of other CP power. He's falling on the Heavy Prism and the Crystal Bit to make up for the lack of CP power that Aftershock gives him. So it's not too bad, and it still allows for him to do that extra lifesteal as well.
Yeah, he's going to go for an engagement here. That Sigil is going to heal up Mercilli's, and actually they're going to go on the aggression here as well. Divine Intervention to keep Palmatoro alive for the time being. Again, another 2v3 by Qlash, and they do send Fnatic pretty low. Now, that is something we normally see from the Asian regions, the Aftershock on the Black Feather. So seeing it picked up here is pretty interesting. Just shows they're watching and paying attention. Wait for it will come out, and actually only silencing the turret for the time being, as much as you can silence machinery. They're going to go in. Agony finds the bad mojo on Tenno JJ. That's got a beautiful fountain straight up to that Holy Nova, and that sends Agony back to base. He is 1 and 4 right now. Mercilli's now stepping up to the plate, and Tenno JJ and Palmatoro are just going to be able to cut him down. Qlash with a massive overstep here. Massive committal will end up paying for it by 2 members falling, and could lose this turret in the process as well.
Yeah, really smart rotations and moves actually coming out of Fnatic there. There he goes. Taken out, Disowned, gonna have to respawn at base. Oh, but Palmatoro is going so low. That turret is taken out now, and we have 4 turrets apiece remaining for both Qlash and Fnatic. So a little bit of back and forth here, Jaws. War Treads picked up by Disowned. Smart move. They're going to be able to engage and disengage a lot more effectively now. And at the same time, that's going to up the base health of Lyra. So Lyra can actually input a lot more base healing coming out of those Imperial Sigils.
Goldminer started up. Can Net Twillet find the Miracle Steel again? They know where she is. It comes through. It doesn't quite get it, although Holy Nova was very close to securing it. I think Agony threw out a bad mojo at the last second there and got it with the animation. 1 shot, 1 kill. Did get body blocked as well by Qlash. They know more than well enough to actually body block those and be scared of them, at least from face. Now Fnatic are just going to be able to clear out the rest of their jungle, but a nice little gold boon there for Qlash actually sends them near enough even now with Fnatic.
Yeah, they're pretty much dead even now, despite the kills that have been going on between these 2 teams. We have Fnatic sitting at 6 kills right now to 2 kills for Qlash. Dragon's Eye actually got picked up by Palmatoro as I was speaking, and that's going to allow him, if he continues to stay in the fights, to really ramp up the damage.
They're going to go for a small fight here with Batiste maybe roaming round for a small engage, and that's already Palmatoro sent really low. Mercilli's and Disowned are really controlling this lane. 2v3, they don't really mind all too much, Sean. They just rather they fight, because right now they're kind of fighting for their lives. They want to get out of those challenge battles positions, and if they win this game, they have a much better chance to.
Yeah, they're fighting for their lives, and they're pretty much Fnatic is standing between them in that.
In a second, because Net Twillet finds a massive 2-man Holy Nova. Has to run away, though, as they do get a massive engagement as well from Palmatoro. Finds the execute onto Mercilli's, and now Agony's in the front line, but that sustain coming out from the Lyra is keeping him alive for the time being, although the poke from Tenno JJ manages to find the kill with a Glimmer shot in the end. 11 minutes on the clock. No Crystal, no Kraken on the board yet available for them, so they're just going to satisfy with some of Qlash's jungle.
But look at this zone there, trying to steal that. He does do it again. Another captain steal, just like what we've been talking about all day. Really sneaky and smart move for Disown to wait in that bush and just deny them that little bit extra of farm from that mid tree end. But you can see there, going back to the team fight, where Palmatoro was actually doing so much work. He's sitting at 3-1 right now with his KDA. And his Dragon's Eye and his Aftershock, with Crystal Bit in his pocket, are actually doing so much work with allowing him to get those extra barriers he needs and a lot of poke damage coming out of his own points.
Disowned was caught shopping. Does end up taking half his health though. A couple of players will spot out the rest of Fnatic, and that'll be Qlash, you can imagine, just backing off for the time being. Remember, Fnatic's strengths are in their poke, and if they are able to just chunk down and whittle away at the health bars of Qlash and even the energy bar as well of Disowned, they're going to be in a better situation if they do want to go for this full-on engage, or if an Agony and Disowned decide they want to engage as well. Now, Wartread's really quickly picked up here from Disowned as well to get them in and out of the fights. Obviously, we're not seeing a Crucible like we normally see from a Lyra, more opting for this large, chunky, health-orientated build in order to get the maximum use out of the sigils.
Yeah, if you look at Techno JJ's build as well, he's got that Sorrow Blade and double Tyrant's Monocle already. That's a lot of burst damage that's going to be coming out of this Kestrel. So they've really got to prioritize getting him down if they're able to get on the back lines. But it's a really tall task for Disown to be able to coordinate with his team at the moment, especially when he's getting focused down and poked out Palmatoro like this.
Yeah, if the healer's healing up the rest of the party, you want to focus down the healer first and then eliminate that as a possibility, and that's exactly what they have been doing. Big item spike here for Net2Let is going to pick up that Echo now, so double Divine Intervention is a real possibility. Techno just continually poking at down Disowned. There's a Benediction from Net2Let, and Qlash running a bit scared here. They are going to move up into this triangle bush here, and Fnatic are just going to satisfy themselves with maybe a bit of a gold miner, as Qlash are going to look for an engage. Well, are going to look to even poke their heads in. This could be a fight opening up or breaking out rather soon, but again, the poke from Techno JJ with the double monocles, like you mentioned, is way too much, it seems, for Qlash to handle.
Yeah, 605 weapon power damage, and it looks like they're not done yet.
No, they are not. A way through will come out, though, and Agony over the wall could use that fearsome shade to rout Techno. Techno's in the front line at this moment in time. Disown going to part charge on through. Goldminer has not gone on just yet. We'll see if the captain can end up stealing it. We won't know until it happens. Net2Let taking the brunt of the Goldminer's damage for the time being, and that'll be secured by Qlash. So Fnatic start it, and Qlash steal it.
Wow, really good facilitation and actually patience coming out of Disown to stay there near the gold miner and just to give that little bit of posturing and presence. Throwing down that sigil actually gave them a really good opportunity to get more chunk damage on the gold miner, and Mercilli's ended up taking it away. That's what they need here right now. They need to keep the gold even or even snowball the gold so that Qlash can remain alive in VG8 and not get into the Challenger Series.
On the ropes, although Fnatic, they're not letting them go easy. 15 minutes on the board now, Sean. 30k to 29. Very close game. Can turn about at any one moment you could imagine, especially with Agony starting to scale up. He took most of the brunt force in the early game. He's 1-5 right now with one of the kills on his team. Has got clockwork, and he's got a lot of defense as well, and he has to be able to use that fearsome shade to stop Fnatic going for these engagements. So speaking of engagements, Disown taking a fair bit of damage or using that sigil to back out alive. Fnatic showing their dominance, and dominance as a VG8 team as well. We kind of know them as Ye Olde Faithful, and one of the teams that don't necessarily start off the split the strongest, but they really come in at the end and show you really what they're made of.
Yeah, they really can. And it looks like the portal is coming in. Maybe not the most opportune use of the portal to dive onto Fnatic, but they went in there nonetheless. And we do see Crucible now available for Disown, so he could be able to block out some of those Holy Novas if they do come in. But other than that, there's really not too much to block, but that is going to help with the base health and the healing ratio for Disown on those Imperial Sigils. But it's still a really tough thing that Disown has to prioritize. Do you heal yourself? Do you waste energy on yourself? Do you use it for vision like he's using right now? And the Kraken is being worked on by Fnatic. They could be taking it without much of a contest.
You say worked on, it's actually just being deleted. Mercedes is stepping up though, wait for it will come out, but it's going to get secured by a glimmer shot from Techno JJ. There was a big engagement. Mercedes actually walks into an active camo trap. There's the Ordain, lands on Techno, but that Phantom will heal him up for the time being. Divine Intervention just keeps Palmator alive. In fact, a double one comes through and Mercedes now marching forwards. Those mortal wounds are really starting to rack up, and a Holy Nova will sentence him to death. Qlash, the entirety of the rest of his team just backed off, and he was right in the front line ready to fight.
No, you've got to be able to have your members following up with you, and Diszone's getting deleted.
Yeah, he's going to get deleted, and so is Agony if he's not careful. Although the Crystal Sentry comes in clutch and does manage to help secure the kill on Palmatoro, but Fnatic just have to deal with Agony, just try and bait him in, because that Kraken is working on the turret.
Yeah, and the Kraken is so healthy right now, Jaws. It's going to be able to probably get up to the choke point turret. The death timers are a little bit low now, so I don't think they'll be able to take it down I don't think they'll be able to go much further into the base with this push. But things are looking really good for Fnatic right now, and they've just got to regroup here. Once they come in, they've just got to clean up their play a little bit. 10-3 right now for the side of Fnatic, with the gold almost dead even. It's just been such a back and forth game here with stealing camps, stealing objectives away, especially for Qlash with some of the gold miner steals they've had. It's been pretty impressive. And Qlash, they're on the ropes now, just like you said earlier. They've really got to put in 100% into this next team fight, and that one-shot, one-kill prevents a backboard.
He tried. That was the... He did manage to do it well, in the end at least. Yep, I mean, that's the situation that they're in now in Qlash. They need to be able to make sure they can facilitate Mercedes in these fights, but right now, Agony's dropping so quickly. We've even got a Bone Saw coming out from Techno's JJ as well to drop some of the armor off of Qlash. Fnatic, they are in control of this game. Maybe game 2 was a little bit of a blip for them, because this looks like the Fnatic we all know and love.
Yeah, it definitely does. And there's a lot of posturing, a lot of flares being thrown out right now. They really need to win this next team fight if Qlash is going to do anything, is going to continue in this weekend and get out of the challenge zone. But here, look at the builds we have right now. We have Agony prioritizing, obviously, his CP damage and cooldown reduction. But we also have a Aegis picked up by him as well. So that's going to allow him to mitigate a lot of the CP burst damage that's coming out of Palmatoro. But if Palmatoro can get his Dragon's Eye stacks up and just continuously do damage, that's going to be a lot of CP damage that's still going to go through. Mercedes has his breaking point. If he's able to sustain in these team fights, he's going to be able to make a difference, and here it goes.
Holy Nova lands onto Disown, the wait for it lands onto 3, but it's going to get blocked. And JJ stunned up in the Ordain, but it's not going to matter because Net2Let's got his back. Fearsome Shade's going to hit him. He's going to send running, and now Palmatoro, he needs to get out of dodge. He gets another massive heal coming through from the Grace, but it's not going to matter because EU Treant actually helped Qlash at that point. Just rooted up Net2Let, and he ends up falling, and now it's only Techno JJ versus the world. Agony is going to help Mercedes find the kill. That's going to be an ace for Qlash, and they finally find the fight they were looking for.
I think the caster blessing just came through, Jaws, because right when we were saying Mercedes needs to stay alive and keep pushing out the damage, he's at 4-3 right now on his kills and deaths. This is amazing. He's been dying so many times, but now they were able to get the ace. One turret, they're going to take down the choke point turret, and things are looking really good for them now. We have Agony starting up the Kraken. If the timers are still up, they could take this and get a really good push into Fnatic's base.
They got to body block that one-shot, one-kill, but this is a very big possibility now for Qlash. Remember, they need to win this game to secure the series, to have a chance to get out of that challenge battle position. One-shot, one-kill gets tanked up by Mercedes. That Kraken's going to go over, and he's going to go over to Qlash.
Yeah, now if Fnatic wants to repel this push, they're going to have to really play it carefully, and so does Qlash. We've seen so many teams get over-aggressive when they take the Kraken, and it looks like Qlash is going aggressive right now, but they've got to be able to play around the Kraken. They've got to be able to play it low and slow for the remainder of this push, because if Fnatic catches them out, then it's going to be a really difficult situation for them. There's only 3 turrets remaining on their side as well.
Even in the turret front, Agony stacking up the passive so he can hit the big bad mojos from over the wall. And now Techno's JJ, they do have to be scared of him because they've got a lot of poke. That was what Fnatic composition was good at. Ordain does come out. Techno JJ is going to block it for the time being. Qlash playing low and slow, like you said. A double active camo trap doesn't find anybody, but Palmatoro find the Rose offensive onto Massili's in the back line. Away for it, strikes Netwillet. The heal is still going to go through onto Palmatoro. That Kraken still marching on the base. Massili's focusing perfectly. Turret is destroyed. That's 2 on the board. There's 1 more between that and the Crystal. Agony taking a fair bit of damage. A fearsome shade scares Netwillet and Techno JJ. Another divine intervention will heal up the Black Feather for the time being, but Massili seems untouchable in this fight. 15 breaking point stacks, and now he is just ripping through Fnatic. They're going to find the next turret, and now Netwillet and Techno JJ is them versus 3 members of Qlash. Agony going extremely low, but I think this is going to be it. They're going to be able to cut, dip, duck, dive, and dodge, and Qlash end up finding the game. They find the series, and they are not out of the challenge battle spot just yet.
Woohoo! Qlash keeping their dreams alive. The clock has not struck midnight yet. The Cinderella story could continue. They definitely are not in the running for Worlds, but at least they're going to stay in the VG8, and there's a really good possibility for them. They need to win their semifinals tomorrow. They need to get to the finals, and that's what Qlash needs to do.